Hi guys, I'm going to take you through notes for lesson 3.1 algebraic expressions. There will be 4 vocabulary words that you'll be expected to know, as well as the word simplify, know what to do when it asks you to simplify. So I'm going to ask you to copy down the first example and the words that I'm asking for. Hit pause when you're done, until you're done, and then move ahead. The first thing that you need to be able to do to an algebraic expression would be identify the terms. The terms are separated by addition or subtraction signs. So in this problem expression, there are 5 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those 5 terms are z squared, 5z, negative 3z, 2z squared, and negative 4. Some people will go ahead and forget that a negative and a subtraction is the same thing and forget the negative. So be careful about that. Like terms. Like terms are terms that you can add. So within these terms, they have to have the same variable or no variable at all. So in here, I can go ahead and identify like terms as z squared and 2z squared. Those are like terms, which means I could add them. And I could also add 5z and negative 3z. Okay. The next thing is constant. A constant stands alone without any variable. The only constant that we have standing alone is negative 4. The coefficients are the numbers that come in front of the variables. The coefficient indicates how many of the term are there. So I want to know how many of the terms. So I want to know how many z squares are here. There is 1. How many z's are there? 5. How many z's are there? Negative 3. How many z squares are there? 2. Do not include the variables in the coefficients. The coefficients are in front, and they are simply how many of that term there are. There is no 1 here, but there is a z squared, so you include it as a 1. Now, if I were to go ahead and simplify, I like to use the strategy of circle square methods. So what I like to go ahead and do is, I'm going to circle the like terms. Okay, so they're easy to see. And then these are like terms, so I'm going to square those. And then that term's got nothing, so I may even triangle that one, just so it's visually easy to see for me. You may want to rearrange them, you may want to do an underline, I don't care what you do. So if I were to simplify, I'm going to add those. Z squared and 2z squared is 3z squared. I have 5z minus 3z, which is 2z. And then I have a triangle of minus 4 or negative 4. So I've just simplified this algebraic expression. I've identified terms, like terms, constants, and coefficients, and you'll also be expected to do that. All right, let's go ahead and move ahead to more complex simplifying using distributive property. So if I were to have the fraction negative 1/2 times the quantity, 6n plus 4 plus 2n. If I am being asked to simplify this algebraic expression, I need to go ahead and do the distributive property first. So I'm going to multiply. I have 6n plus 4. I have half of those. So half of 6n, or negative half of 6n, is negative 3n. Negative half of 4, or half of 4 with the opposite, is negative 2. So I have negative 3n minus 2 plus 2n. I've distributed that 1/2 to the 6n and that negative 1/2 to the 4. So I'm just multiplying them. Now I go ahead and use my circle square method to combine like terms. 3 negative n's plus 2 n's is negative n minus 2. I know there's an n there, but I don't write the 1. It just stays the way it is. All right, let's do another one. If I were to go ahead and have 2/5 y minus 4 plus 7 minus 9/10 y. There is no distributive property here, so I'm going to go right to the circle square method. I have 2/5 y's and a negative 9/10 y's. I have a negative 4 and a 7. These I have to combine. I have some positive y's and some negative y's, so therefore I need to subtract them. When I subtract fractions, I need common denominators. So I'm going to find a common denominator. It's going to be 10. So I'm going to get rid of 2/5 and make it 4/10. So now I have positive 4/10 y's and I have negative 9/10 of a y. Negative 9/10 is going to be negative because I have more negatives, but I'm also going to subtract. 9/10 minus 4/10 is negative 5/10 y. Negative 4 plus 7 is plus 3. Still not simplified. Negative 1/2 y plus 3. As you notice in my answers, every time I've simplified, I've gone to the highest number of terms to the lowest. It's not going to be incorrect if I had a negative 4 plus a 2z plus a 3, but you're always going to want to put those variables first, and if there's more than one variable, like it has an exponent, you're going to go ahead and use those first. So, simplifying algebraic expressions. Know this vocabulary, know what it means to simplify, be able to distribute a number in front of the parentheses, and then go ahead and be able to combine. I'm going to do actually one more example. The last example I want to show you is distributing the negative. So if I have 5 minus 3x plus 2, what do you notice is in front of the parentheses? A minus sign. That is the exact same thing as a negative 1. Because if I do a minus, negative 1, it's the exact same thing. So let me show you that again. 5 minus is the exact same thing as plus negative 1. Oh, I have the distributive property. I'm going to distribute that negative 1 to each of the terms. 5 minus 3x, or I can write plus negative 3x. Negative 1 times 2 is minus 2 or plus negative 2. So now, these are like terms. This has no terms that are alike it. Okay, it's a variable, so I'm going to put it first. Negative 3x. I have 5 minus 2, 3. If you were to write 3x, negative 3x plus negative 3, you would just have to take it back to a subtraction problem because this is the most simplified version. All right, hopefully you hit pause when you needed to.